who's not on mute is Rahul. Rahul, please go on mute. Thank you. Okay, I'll just start again. The circle, entering circle of perfect master. Somebody's still not on mute. After several lifetimes of search, purification, service, and self-sacrifice, some persons have the good fortune to meet and get connected with a God-realized master. Through their several lifetimes of close connection with the one who has now become a perfect master, and through their love and service for this master, they enter into his circle. Those who have entered into the circle of a master are the souls who, through their efforts, have acquired the eligibility for God realization. When the exact moment for realization arrives, they attain it through the grace of the master. All actions in the world of duality are prompted by samskaras of duality. Consciousness of duality implies the working of the impressions of duality. Prarabdha samskaras is the heading. These impressions of duality first serve the purpose of evolving and limiting consciousness, and then they serve the purpose of liberating it so as to facilitate self-knowledge or God realization. The soul cannot attain consciousness of its own unless it goes through the experiences of duality, which presuppose and require corresponding impressions of duality. From the very beginning till the very end, the soul is subject to the momentum of impressions, which constitute the destiny of the soul. These impressions are called prarabdha samskaras. These prarabdha samskaras always relate to the opposites of experience. For example, the samskaras of greed and its opposite, the samskaras of lust, and its opposite, the samskaras of anger, and its opposite, the samskara of bad thoughts, words and deeds, and their opposites. Disappearance of samskaras. From the stage of the atom till the realization of God, the soul is bound by the impressions of duality, and all that happens to it is determined by these impressions. When the soul realizes God, all its samskaras disappear. If it remains immersed in the experience of divinity without coming back to normal consciousness of the world of duality, it remains eternally beyond all types of samskaras. It does not have any samskaras and cannot have any. If yoga samskaras of universal mind, if the God realized soul returns to normal consciousness of the world of duality, it assumes universal mind. This universal mind has superfluous and non-binding samskaras, which are known as yoga samskaras. In the beyond state, the perfect master is eternally free from all samskaras. Even when he is conscious of creation and is working in creation, he remains unbound by this yoga samskaras, which sit loosely upon his universal mind. The yoga samskaras merely serve as channels for his universal work. They do not form a restricting chain to his consciousness. Okay. Function of yoga samskaras. The yoga samskaras are automatic in their working. All the specific contacts and links to which the man-God responds in his work are ultimately based upon these yoga samskaras. They do not create a wheel on the universal mind. They do not constitute a cloud of ignorance. They only... I'm sorry. Just give me 1 second.
Karthik, you're still on mute. You might.
Sorry. Thank you. I'm sorry about that. My computer just fell down from the standing table I have, so I had, and it.
Oh my God.
It went into two pieces. The Surface Pro. So it's basically a keyboard that sticks to a tablet, right? Kama knows.
Yeah.
So it went into two pieces, and I'm now working without the keyboard. So let me try to get that fixed. But I am surprised that we still stayed on the call, so that's good. I had no idea where this will end.
You could stop the recording for some time, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no problem. We'll continue. So we were at the Yoga Samskaras. I'll start again from the subtitle function of Yoga Samskaras. Baba ki jai. The Yoga Samskaras are automatic in their working. All the specific contacts and links to which the man-God responds in his work are ultimately based upon these Yoga Samskaras. They do not create a veil on the universal mind. They do not constitute a cloud of ignorance. They only serve as a necessary framework for the release of definitive action. Through these Yoga Samskaras, the universal will of God is particularized in its expressions. Any action released in the world of space and time must be in relation to a certain definite situation or a set of circumstances. Is the font size okay? There must be
font
increase, yeah, because I used to be on the monitor. Now everything got disconnected.
Okay.
I'm on the tablet directly. Is this better? A little more? Yeah.
Okay. It's not moving in my dashboard.
Okay. Is it? Are you able to see function of Yoga Samskaras on your screen?
Yes.
Okay. I'll continue.
But it doesn't scroll further. It stops now and then.
Okay.
Okay. Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead. I can see. Managing the mobile.
Yeah. Through these Yoga Samskaras, the universal will of God is particularized in its expressions. Any action released in the world of space and time must be in relation to a certain definite situation or a set of circumstances. There must always be some reason why a response is given to one situation rather than another, and why it is given in one way rather than another. The basis for self-limitation of the actions of a soul in spiritual bondage is in its prarabdha samskaras, which are binding. The basis for the self-limitation of the actions of a soul that is spiritually free is in its yoga samskaras, which are not binding. So basically, there are two levels of samskaras. If the title is Work of Man-God subject to laws of creation. If the man-God were not to get these yoga samskaras while coming down to normal consciousness, he would not be able to do any work of a definite nature. Yoga samskaras help the man-God to particularize and materialize the divine will through him and to fulfill his mission. The master is and knows himself to be infinite in existence, consciousness, knowledge, bliss, love, and power. And he always remains infinite in the beyond state. But the work he does in the world of creation is subject to the laws of creation and is therefore, in one sense, finite. Since his work is in relation to the unveiling of the hidden infinity and divinity in everyone, and since the realization of this infinity and divinity is the only purpose of the entire creation, his work is infinitely important. However, when it is measured by the standard of results, it can only be like any work possible in the world, so much and no more. So it looks and feels very worldly, is what Baba is saying. Master's work determined by yoga samskaras. I'll make it even bigger. Would prefer it that way. Even when the work of the man god is measured by the magnitude of its results, the results achieved by the worldly minded are mostly trivial in comparison. The greatest of souls who are still in spiritual bondage cannot approach the achievements of the man god. The master has behind his work the infinite power of God, while the worldly person is working with the limited power available to him through his ego mind. A man god may sometimes end his incarnation after achieving some limited task. This is not because he is limited in his power, but because the work which is determined by his yoga samskaras is so much and no more. He is in no way attached to work as such. Having finished the work given to him by his yoga samskaras, he is ready to be reabsorbed in the impersonal aspect and of the infinite. He does not tarry in the world of unreality and duality a minute longer than is necessitated by his yoga samskaras. In the beyond state, time, space, and the whole world of phenomena are non-existent. The title is Beyond State. Only in the phenomenal world of duality is there space, time, or operation of the law of cause and effect. When the perfect master works in the sphere of duality for the upliftment of humanity, his work becomes subject to the laws of time, space, and causality. From the point of view of external work, at times he appears to be limited, though in reality he is at all times experiencing the oneness and infinity of the beyond state. Though he himself is beyond time, when he works for those who are in duality, time counts. Special work for the circle. That's the next title. The master's universal work for humanity in general goes on without break through the higher planes. When he works for the members of his circle, his action follows a timing he himself fixes with utmost care, for it has to be a precise and definite intervention in the mechanical working out of their samskaras. He works for the circle at fixed times. Therefore, those who, in following the instructions from the master, abide by the timing given by him have the benefit of his special work. From the standpoint of the special tasks the master sets for himself, time becomes an extremely important factor. The special work that the master undertakes in relation to the members of his circle not only touches and affects these members themselves, but also those who are closely connected with the members of his circle.
I think it very well explains. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
I think it very well explains that Baba used to be so particular about time. So he used to be very upset if anything was late. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. Perfect. He's not bound by time, but is limited by it in the role. Avatar and his circles. Like the perfect masters, the avatar also has his circle of 10 concentric circles. When the avatar takes an incarnation, he has before him a clear-cut mission that proceeds according to a plan. And this plan is always carefully adjusted to the flow of time. The process of the incarnation of the avatar is unique. Before taking on a physical body and descending into the world of duality, he gives to himself and members of his circles special types of samskaras, which are known as Vijnani samskaras. The circles of the avatar always consist of a total of 122 members, and all of them have to take an incarnation when the avatar takes an incarnation. The taking on of Vijnani samskaras before incarnating in the physical body is like drawing of a wheel upon himself and his circles. After taking an incarnation, the avatar remains under his wheel of Vijnani Samskaras until the time that he has been fixed, until the time that has been fixed by himself. When the appointed time comes, he experiences his own original divinity and begins to work through the Vijnani Samskaras, which now have been transmuted into the Yoga Yoga Samskaras of the universal mind. Okay. Nature of Vijnani Samskaras. For all intents and purposes, Vijnani Samskaras are like the ordinary Samskaras of duality, though they are essentially different in nature. Vijnani Samskaras prompt activities and invite experiences that are similar to activities and experiences caused by ordinary Samskaras. But while the activities and experiences caused by ordinary Samskaras have a general tendency to strengthen the grip of illusory duality, the activities and experiences caused by Vijnani Samskaras systematically work toward the loosening of the grip of duality. The logic of the working out of Vijnani Samskaras necessarily invites the realization of the oneness of existence. They are therefore known as a threshold of unity. The members of the circles remain under the veil of Vijnani Samskaras until they attain realization of God at the time fixed by the avatar. After they attain realization through the avatar, the Vijnani Samskaras they brought with them do not constitute a wheel, but for some become Yoga Yoga Samskaras, serving only as an instrument for the fulfillment of the divine plan on earth. Okay. Differences between Vijnani and Yoga Yoga Samskaras. There are important differences. There are important differences between Vijnani and Yoga Yoga Samskaras. Though Vijnani Samskaras ultimately work toward the realization of unity, they cause the experience of being limited until realization. Yoga Yoga Samskaras come after realization and do not in any way interfere with the experience of infinity, which is above duality, although they serve as instruments for enabling and determining responses and activities in the dual world. The working out of Vijnani Samskaras contribute towards one's own realization, while the working out of Yoga Yoga Samskaras contributes towards the process of realization in others who are still in bondage. So that's the big difference. Avatar and masters not circumscribed by circles. The circles of the avatar, as well as the perfect masters, constitute the most important particular feature in relation to which and through which the avatar and the masters adjust their spiritual duty toward humanity. This particular feature has come into existence as a result of the close links and connections of several lifetimes. The avatar and all perfect masters always have such circles of very close disciples, but the circles do not in any way create a limitation on their inner consciousness. In their God state, the avatar and the masters find themselves in the center of the universe as well as in the center of everything, and there are no circles to circumscribe their being. In the infinity of non-duality, there are no preferences. The circles exist only in relation to the duty and the work that the avatar and the perfect masters have undertaken in the phenomenal world. But from the point of view of this spiritual work in the phenomenal world, the circles are as much a reality as the Himalayas. Okay. So with that, we come to the end of 35, which is the circles, and go to circles of the avatar. Any points to be discussed? So it's basically the two types of samskaras and the circle of 122 and the difference between the two of them.
There is one comment I want to make.
Sure.
This is a very important chapter because in God Speaks, there is no differentiation. There is only sanskaras that are mentioned, but there is no classification, So I always wondered, because sanskaras is such an important component of a human being, and discourses was, dictated before God speaks, you know. So, so it's basically much more of a technical definition out here that all of us mortal human beings have prarabdha sanskaras, and God realized people like God, perfect masters who work with humanity have yoga sanskaras, which doesn't create any binding sanskaras.
Correct.
And the most interesting thing is that when the avatar descends, there is already a divine plan, and then he comes down with a circle of one sanskara.
Correct. Did we lose you, or you paused? You abruptly
Yes,
stopped.
yeah. We lost him, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, so I think we'll keep going. It might be his.
Sorry. I think
He abruptly lost you. Yeah.
right. I put it on mute. The finger touch.
Okay.
So where was I? So I was saying that about the Vijnani sanskaras and Prarabdha sanskaras and Yoga sanskaras. So, the interesting thing is the avatar, before he descends, he brings with him the 122, of his circle with Vijnani sanskaras. So I was looking at Baba when he was with Upasni Maharaj going through the 7-year, period of, and during that time when he was declared as avatar by Upasni Maharaj, that time his Vijnani sanskaras transmuted to Yoga sanskaras, you know. And one more point here is in page 290, it says, a man god may sometimes end this incarnation after achieving some limited task. This is not because he is limited in his power, but because the work which is determined by his yoga sanskaras is so much and no more. So I have an example of some Jnaneshwar who wrote the Gita, the Jnaneshwari in Marathi. He was supposed to have done it at the age of 16 and he dropped his body at 21. And for those of us who are Tamilians and others, the Thirunjana Sambandar,
Correct.
Mm.
Yeah.
he dropped his body at the age of 16, you know.
Mm.
So the interesting thing is even perfect masters have, even though they are working on yoga sanskaras, once their duties are completed, they could drop their body anytime. So that was an interesting aspect that I kind of thought about this. Yeah.
Great. Just one clarification. I know Jnaneshwar was, I think, mentioned by Baba as a perfect master. Is there any reference also to Tirugana Sambandar, or it was just something which
No.
He was a
coincidence
perfect
of?
master.
He's a perfect.
Definitely.
Yeah.
In fact, the whole family of Jnaneshwar, his elder brother was his guru actually, and then his sister also became self-realized. There were probably 3 or 4 members. if I'm
4
not
members,
correct.
including the sister.
Yes.
Great.
Namdev. One more name.
Okay. So can we continue?
Yes.
Okay. Is the font size okay?
Okay. Now.
So, circles of the avatar, we just continue. Absolute oneness prevails in reality. Space and time are but illusory. They are merely the effect of the reflection of God's infinitude. When man realizes reality, the reflection that has estranged him from reality vanishes, and he experiences the absoluteness of the absolute oneness of God. And when such a one continues to live his life in illusion, he leads the life of a man god or perfect master on earth. With his abiding experience of the absolute reality, he serves as the pivot around which rotates the entire cosmic universe. Every point in the cosmos is equidistant from the perfect master who abides in illusion as the nucleus of the cosmos. Although the perfect master remains in illusion as the center of the cosmic periphery and radiates his influence, uniformly over the entire universe, in his lifetime, he gathers around him 12 men who directly have their center of interest in his individuality. These men, through their constant and close association with him in the past, right from the earliest evolutionary stages of consciousness, reap the greatest benefit now when their past close associate has become a perfect master. Such a group of 12 men is called the circle of a perfect master. However, besides this group of 12 men, there is an appendage of 2 women to complete the circle of a perfect master in all its aspects. These 2 women also owe their position in regard to the circle to their past connection with the perfect master. One or more of these 14 close ones associated with the perfect master realize the God state during or after the lifetime of the perfect master. And in some instances, after one or a few more reincarnations. However, the perfect master fulfills his obligations by establishing his circle during his lifetime, and the greatest good he bestows is God realization with all its perfection to at least one from his circle. So there's a diagram, the circles, the avatar circles, 12 men and 2 women in the innermost circle around Baba, 8 men and 4 women, 4 men and 8 women, 8 women. I mean, it alternates between the composition of men and women, between 8 and 4 till the last one, which is again 10 men and 2 women. So it's 12 into 10 plus 2 women, right? In the case of the avatar, it is different. He has, 1 second. So I'm coming from a 30-inch monitor to a 10-inch screen. So that's why I'm struggling a little bit. In the case of the avatar, it is different. He has 10 circles in all, as shown in the accompanying diagram. The first or inner circle of the avatar consists of 12 men with an appendage of 2 women, and each of the following 9 outer circles consists of 12 persons, both men and women. In all, there are 120 persons in the 10 circles of the avatar, plus the 2 women of the inner circle, who are but appendages to that particular circle, 122 in all. One or more of the 108 members of the 9 outer circles realize the God state during or after the lifespan of the avatar, and some in the next incarnation or after a few more reincarnations. As in the case of the perfect master's circle, the inner circle of the avatar consists of only 12 men with an appendage of 2 women. The difference between the circle of the perfect master and the inner circle of the avatar is that the perfect master establishes his circle from among those who are closely connected with him right from the earliest evolutionary stages of their consciousness. But the avatar in his current advents does not pass through the process of evolution, reincarnation, and involution. Therefore, he does not have the same links of association to establish anew his inner circle with every advent. In short, whereas the perfect master establishes his circle, the avatar is directly allied with his inner circle, which is always the same in all his advents. With his descent on earth, the avatar, as it were, brings along with him the association of his inner circle.
So basically, it means that he has the same team who comes every time.
Yes.
The first, yeah. That's
Fascinating.
in a lighter way. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Whereas the perfect master sets his team up. So
yeah, every time. Yeah.
the avatar is the luckier CEO. He uses his team. Or is it chairman, Kama, in your words, chairman of the board? Continuing, the connection of the inner circle in relation to the avatar may be compared to that of a person who associates himself with 14 parts of his own body: 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, the mouth, 2 hands, 2 legs, the genitals, the anus, and the trunk of the body itself. As soon as an individual is born, he directly makes use of these 14 parts of his body, and these parts, in turn, respond to his dictates individually or collectively. Similarly, with the advent of the avatar on earth, his inner circle of the same 12 individualities and the appendage of the same 2 individualities directly begin to function individually and collectively according to the dictates of the avatar himself. With every advent of the avatar on earth, the 12 men of the inner circle and its appendage of 2 women gather around the personality of the avatar as the self same 14 types of individualities. These 14 different individualities, in the shape of different personalities, always occupy their respective offices whenever the avatar manifests on earth. And during and after the lifespan of the avatar, they individually and collectively function in the same way as their predecessors, who had held and functioned in the same offices of the inner circle during the past advents of the avatar. Therefore, it would not be wrong to say that with the Christ coming again, come Peter, Judas, and all his apostles. But this can never mean that the very same Peter or the self same Judas reincarnates again and again. These can never reincarnate, as all of the individual personalities of the avatar's inner circle attain God realization in every avataric period, either during or soon after the lifespan of the avatar. Once God realization is attained, reincarnation is impossible. The only exception to this rule is the avatar himself, who comes again and again to redeem humanity. So here he clarifies further, Sanjay ji. So I think both of us need to stand corrected. So it's not so it's not the very same Peter or the self same Judas reincarnating, and the exception to the rule of God realized people not reincarnating is only avatar. So it's not the other 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It is not
Actually, in each avataric period, the functions remain the same, but the souls are different.
different. Yeah.
So, like vice president marketing, the function will remain the same, but another guy will be appointed for that kind of thing, right?
Correct. So the designations and the org structure remains, but it's new people. It's not the same individualized personalities of the inner circle that reincarnate. It is the individualities of their particular offices that come with every advent of the avatar. It is because in all the avatar's advent, each of the 12 men and 2 women of the inner circle hold exactly the same office and function in exactly the same manner that it is said the avatar always brings with him the same circle. As soon as the veil with which the avatar descends on earth is rent by the then living perfect master or masters, and the avatar realizes his avatarhood, the 12 men and 2 women automatically group around the personality of the avatar to occupy their respective positions in the inner circle and to function as usual according to the dictates of the avatar of the age. The position of the avatar in regard to the inner circle and its function may be compared to a person asleep. As soon as he is made to wake up through some external agency, the individual spontaneously finds that all the 14 parts of his body, as mentioned before, are already there in their individual roles, ready to function at his slightest wish. Similarly, as soon as the avatar is made to realize his avatarhood through one or two or more of the perfect masters of the time, he also realizes that the 14 personalities in their characteristic roles of the inner circle are ready at hand to discharge their duties. to explain in detail why only these 14 particular personalities hold such positions in every advent of the avatar would take a volume of explanation. Who can become the 14 members and how do they become attached to the inner circle of the avatar? These questions would require yet more volumes of explanation. Suffice it to say that each of these 14 particular personalities, when occupying the office and function of the inner circle, not only must resemble the characteristic individuality of his or her predecessor in the previous advents of the avatar, but must be exactly similar in all respects. For example, one of the offices of the inner circle of Jesus Christ was held by Peter. At the second advent of the Christ, this particular office must be held by another Peter who may be named A, but who has the same qualities of mind and heart and other characteristics as the Peter. The same applies to the offices held by Judas, John, James, and so forth of the inner circle in the time of Jesus Christ. All 14 members of Avatar's inner circle realized God by the grace of the Avatar during the same avataric period, which is of 100 years duration after the manifestation of the Avatar on earth. Regarding the outer circles of the Avatar, none of the 108 persons in the inner circle hold any office similar to that held by those of the inner circle. All of these 108 persons attain God realization by the grace of the Avatar, but not necessarily during the avataric period. These 108 persons of the outer circles have their respective places in the 9 circles in accordance with their past connections with the members of the circle ahead of them. For example, the members of the second circle of 12 persons next to the inner circle are grouped around the avatar in accordance with their past connections with the members of the inner circle. Similarly, the 12 persons of the third circle next to the second circle are grouped around the avatar in accordance with their past connections with the members of the second circle, and so on with all the remaining 7 circles. Okay, so with this we go back to 34, right?
I had an observation here.
Yeah.
Please go ahead, Sunil.
We talked about 100 years. Is it from the birth or manifestation or from the dropping of body? In the previous para, he says 100 years duration after the manifestation of Avatar on earth.
Here in this sentence, it is said as from the time of Advent.
Correct.
That means from the beginning of the avatar.
Yeah, from
So
the
here
time
he uses
manifested.
the word manifestation. Now, the
Yeah.
manifestation of the avatar of this age, manifestation of Meher Baba is a volume of work in itself, right? There are multiple people talking about it, and we do not know the exact nature of that. If you take it as the day he took the office of avatar, then we know the date, right? But the word of manifestation is a lot more broader. Any other? Am I making sense? I mean, because Baba used to say, "When I manifest all along, right through his lifetime, till he dropped his body," right? So we don't know what is the point of manifestation.
It's definitely not the time he dropped his body. It's earlier than that.
No, it could be later than that.
It could be later.
Because he has said, "When I manifest." He used to keep saying, "When I manifest."
The other takeaway that I see is sorry about that. Is that the 108 are not necessarily are in touch with the avatar, because 14 are definitely in touch with the avatar, but the rest of the circles are in touch with these 14 and others with the next circle. So there could be people we are not kind of aware or known who are in touch with Baba.
Of course.
Indirectly. So it's not that we can count these people by a way, by some method. Yeah.
Yeah, the other way to look at it is that it keeps expanding, the number of people keep increasing.
Yeah.
But I think the
Like if you
official group is
imagine
the
a pyramid,
122.
So what I was saying, from that sense, some of these people could come in contact with the, I suppose somebody in 9th circle has come into contact with the person in 8th circle. Now, after the Baba's body has dropped, that also could be a possibility. It's not necessarily during the lifetime of Avatar. It could be these people be coming even later.
True.
yes.
Yes,
Kama, any
actually,
comments
yeah.
from you?
Well, in my understanding, when what I've understood from the 108 members, now when Baba was alive, he had the inner circle, very close people who were working with him, and there were other people also who were not in the ashram. Probably some of them were there, and some of them were outside. And Baba used to give instructions to these people. So it doesn't mean that I believe that the 108 were alive during Baba's time. Yeah. Because it says clearly he brings down the 108 with him. Right. And so I think those 108 people, that's why I was saying that the tower that we see in Mehrabad, to me, the 108 people, the names of those people on the tower are probably in that 108. Okay. And so that is my understanding of that. And so that's about it. And also about the manifestation, I've asked a couple of people, it's a very the interpretation can be very different. For example, Baba said after 100 years I will be manifesting for after he drops his body he'll be there for 100 years, in his formless aspect. you know so he's available to us, his energy is available to us as if he's in his physical form till, let's say, 2069. But then here, all 14 members of the Avatar's inner circle realized God by the grace of the Avatar during the same Avataric period. So this Avataric period could be between 1969 to 2069, or it could be the time when he publicly declared his avatarhood in Hamirpur in 1954, or it could be when Upasni Maharaj officially told him in 1921-22 that he is the avatar, or it could be in 1894 when he was born. So we don't know.
This is what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, so it could be any of those. And we
Yeah.
discussed this even in the past, but I think
Yeah.
manifestation is I don't want to use the word, but it's a complicated or controversial term in Baba world.
Let's
In
park
the
it
Baba,
aside. Let's.
yeah, in the Baba world, there are multiple points of view on his manifestation.
Right.
I would ask Vidya, if you're there, if you're listening, can you make any comment on this from your understanding?
In fact, I've been itching to bring that up since the topic was what we are talking. So why don't you jump in, Vidya? Maybe you're on mute.
No, she's there.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
come.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So, Jai Baba,
Jai Baba.
Baba.
Actually, I was listening to this whole thing very silently because a lot of hidden meaning is there in this space of and all this thing, because only as much as humanity can absorb is written in the book. There is a lot of content that is not written here because human minds cannot absorb it. So, from the point of what Baba is saying in terms of manifestation, the manifestation that humanity is looking for to say that something, some activity or some action or something is going to happen that we can, we can grossly recognize this as a manifestation or something that people are the real manifestation is going to happen in the hearts of each lover or the seeker who is going to look for God realization. The manifestation will happen inside the hearts or in the souls, then they can see the avatar as he really is. What we have seen of avatar in his gross body or what we have seen in his gross eyes is very limited. When we go beyond all of that, we see the manifestation of avatar as he really is. And that manifestation is so if everyone wants to get a confirmation from the intelligent mind that is the manifestation time that is never going to happen and everyone can actually pinpoint that. But each one will know that the manifestation happens. That's something that we start.
I think the voice was
Was
not
not
very
great,
audible. Yeah, but probably she can give it us in writing. She will be able to do that. And one more point I wanted to make was there was this mention of the inner circle of Jesus Christ was held by Peter. If I'm not incorrect, Baba said Erich was his Peter. So
Okay. I have not heard that before. Great. That's good to know.
Yeah,
And, somebody else is, I think it's Vidya again, but we didn't hear her.
no?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, Erich is Peter is true.
Okay, great. I mean, totally. I mean, it's not implausible, but I've not heard that. So perfect, makes sense. So with that, I'll jump back to man God, which is the perfect master, and that's
One point here, maybe punning on a thing. Time is an illusion. So why not we think in terms of timelessness? Baba's manifestation is timeless.
Brilliant. Yeah, why are we trying to see it in the lens of time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think Vidya's point was the manifestation was in the hearts of those
Yeah.
who recognize him. That much I could catch. And so it's not as it again goes back to what you're saying. It's not a time event, right?
Yeah.
It's beyond that, and it's a personal time construct. So yeah, agreed. Good point. So this is in three parts. It's made up of three parts. The man God. The first part is aspirants and God realized beings. I start there. Joy of God intoxication. Even before God realization, advanced aspirants pass through states of consciousness that, in some ways, are akin to the state of God realization. For example, the musts and advanced souls of the higher planes become desireless and immersed in the joy of God intoxication. Since their only concern is God, they become the recipients of the unique happiness characteristic of the God state. They have no beloved except God, and they have no longing except for God. For them, God is not only the only beloved, but also the only reality that counts. They are unattached to everything except God and remain unaffected by the pleasures and pains to which worldly persons are subject. They are happy because they are always face to face with the divine beloved, who is the very ocean of happiness. Powers of advanced aspirants. Advanced aspirants not only participate in some of the privileges of the divine state, but also wield great occult and mystic powers, siddhis. Depending upon the powers they wield, the aspirants belong to different types. For example, even on the first plane, the aspirant begins to see lights and colors, smell perfumes, and hear the music of the subtle world. Those who advance further can see and hear things at any distance. Some aspirants see the whole gross world as a mirage. Other advanced aspirants can take a new body immediately after their death. Some agents of perfect masters have such control over their gross world that they can change their bodies at will. In Sufi tradition, they are called Abdal. All these achievements of advanced aspirants pertain to the phenomenal world. The field of their powers is itself a domain of illusion, and the miracles they perform do not necessarily mean that they are in any way nearer to the God state. Just read the footnote. The man God is also called perfect master, Sadguru, Kutub, or Salik-e-Mukammil, and is most frequently referred to throughout the discourses simply as master. From the standpoint, okay, the different states of aspirants, from the standpoint of consciousness, also, aspirants belong to various types according to the line in which they have advanced and according to their nearness to the God state. Some get intoxicated with their extraordinary powers and, tempted to use them, have a long pause in their Godward march. They get stuck in the consciousness of the intermediate planes. Some become dazed, confused, and even self-deluded. Others are caught in a coma. There are some who, with difficulty, try to come down to gross consciousness by repeating a physical action or by repeating some utterance many times. There are those who, in their God intoxication, are so indifferent to the life of the gross world that to all appearances their external behavior is like that of mad persons. And there are some who tread the spiritual path while performing their worldly duties. Owing to their exalted states of consciousness, the state of Unmatta, some advanced aspirants are worthy of adoration, but they are in no way comparable to God-realized beings, either in spiritual beauty and perfection of the inward state of consciousness or in their powers. All aspirants, right up to the sixth plane, are limited by finite consciousness, and they are all in the domain of duality and illusion. Aspirants are mostly happy. This is due to their contact and communion with God. For some, the joy of inward companionship with the divine beloved is so great that they become unbalanced in their behavior. As a result, in their unsubdued state of God intoxication, they may abuse people, throw stones at them, and behave as though possessed. Their state is often described as that of the Unmatta. Owing to the exuberance of uncontrolled joy in their inward contact with the divine beloved, they are utterly heedless of worldly standards or values. Because of the fearlessness that comes to them through complete detachment, they often manifest a self-expression that can easily be mistaken for idiosyncrasy and unruliness. So I think with that, I stop.
I just have an observation. I think the Unmatta, the state of Unmatta is referring to the musts, probably.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think Mas, yeah, similar to Mas, but I think I have not come
Similar
across
to
this.
Mas.
Yeah, similar to Mas. I think you're right. Great. So we will continue tomorrow morning. Any other comments, observations before we wind up?
No.
Actually, I saw Neha trying to call me, so I think just as a reminder, I'll show everybody again how to get to the Teams if you missed the link. Obviously, I've shared it all over. I've shared it on WhatsApp as well. Is my window showing up? It's actually on. If you go to the wiki, in the
Hi Karthik, Jai Baba.
yeah.
Hi,
Hi,
you
Baba.
refreshed the link on 5th, so I tried from that. So I think it was not working or something like that.
So it was
On
not
5th you refreshed it.
correct, and that's the link everybody else used this morning. So it's working.
Yes.
I think maybe
Yes.
there was something on your side because
Okay.
yeah. So just save a bookmark of that. Otherwise,
Uh-huh.
find it on wiki. I'll just show you what to do. So if you go to general, what? Where's the wiki? Somebody knocked it off? Oh, there it is. It takes so long on a browser. I'm showing you on a browser. You can see it, right? So if you see about us under wiki, the first thing is latest meeting connection particulars. So anybody can get to this.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll make sure I change this if I change the link.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Jai Baba. Have a great
Jai
day.
Baba,
everybody.
Jai Baba,
Jai
Jai
Baba.
Baba, Jai Mehr Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.